What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live, powered by BetUS. Today, we get to preview the biggest Blazer game in years as the Blazers play the Houston Rockets tomorrow in Game 2 of NBA Cup pool play. The Blazers are 1-0, the Rockets are 1-0. Whoever wins this game has the inside track to making the Final 8 in this year's NBA Cup. And the Blazers get to play for something for once. So this is the biggest game in the past couple of years, unfortunately. But it's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow's game, and we're going to preview it here on this episode. Also, we have a light schedule for picks against the spread today. 4 games to choose from. We've been struggling collectively in picks against the spread. We've had 3 or 4 straight below 500 days as a group. Hopefully we can do better today with a lighter schedule. Hopefully all of you guys are having a good day as well. The week's almost at an end, and I'm excited for the weekend slate of games. The Blazers play back-to-back games Friday and Saturday against the Houston Rockets. No Eric for today's stream, unfortunately. That's becoming a pretty common occurrence with these afternoon episodes, but still, we're going to have some fun. We're going to pick some games, and we're going to talk about tomorrow. With that being said, let's take a look at the picks against the spread standings. And Eric is still on top, unfortunately, 42-31, 3 games ahead of second place. We got our OG mods, Trevin and Zach there at number 2. Crushables at 4. I've been struggling. I'm at 5. And you can see the rest of the standings right there. Only a couple of people were above 500 on Monday. Zach killed it at 7-2. Eric and Steven at 5-4. Everybody else below 500. Connor, the loser of the day, 2-7. We were also terrible on double downs. We were 2-11 on double downs, which was just very, very poor double down day from us. We were actually winning about 60% of our double downs. It's now down to about 500 at 49-50 on the season. But maybe we can turn things around today. And for game number 1, we got the Charlotte Hornets hosting the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are a 2.5-point road favorite. The Pistons have been playing better basketball this year. It's very strange to be sitting here saying they are a road favorite, but indeed they are. Chat, here is your poll. The injuries for today's games. Out for the Pistons, Bobby Klintman and Asar Thompson. And out for the Hornets, Daquan Jeffries, Nick Richards, Mark Williams, and Miles Bridges. Once again, shout out to Brendan for helping us out with the injury reports. Jackson is going Pistons. Arrow is going Pistons. Eric is going Hornets. Let's see here. 503 going Hornets. Stephen Vaughn going Hornets. Crushables going Hornets. Everybody else should be making their picks in chat. It's these are 2 teams that are looking a little bit better this year. Don't know where they end at the end of the season, but Detroit is actually in a playoff spot right now. It's kind of wild. So we'll see how long they can hang on to that. In the chat, we got Pistons for Brendan and Hornets for Javon and Connor. I'm going to go with the Pistons. Trevin is going Pistons, and Zach I do not see, unfortunately. Chat, get your votes in the chat poll because it's 50-50 right now. 12 votes. The 13th vote will break the tie, and the 13th vote went for the Detroit Pistons for chat. So right now this is a 6v6. Let me tag Zach. And let's move on to game number 2. We have, let me copy my full webcam here. There we go. Hold on. All right, game number 2. There we go. Toronto and Minnesota. You got Minnesota as a 7-point road favorite over the Raptors. This game tipping off at 4:40 p.m. Pacific time. The injuries for this game. The Timberwolves have 2 players questionable, and that's it. Those are Mike Conley and Dante DiVincenzo. And then the Raptors have multiple players out. Those players are Bruce Brown, Emmanuel Quickley, Kelly Olynyk, Bruno Fernando, and DJ Carton. I think Scotty Barnes might be returning today. I don't see him on the injury report. He's been out. Brendan, you can let me know in the chat what is the latest with Scotty Barnes, but obviously that would be a huge help for a Raptors team that has been very competitive in games despite their record. Here is the... Let me get this chat poll cooking for you guys. Barnes is good to play. So Scotty Barnes returns today for the Toronto Raptors. Jackson is going Timberwolves. 503 is going Timberwolves. I'm going to go with the Toronto Raptors now that Scotty Barnes is back. 503, as I said, went Wolves. You got Crushables going Raptors. You got Steven Vaughn going Raptors as well. He was questioning my YouTube title, why this was the biggest game in years. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that after picks are done. Arrow went Raptors as well. The rest of the picks should be in the chat. Eric went Raptors. And then from the chat, we got Connor going Raptors. We got Wolves for Trevin and Brendan. And Javon went with the Timberwolves as well. And then chat went with the Timberwolves, 62% of the vote. Which means this is another 6v6. Another split vote. We don't have pure split votes anymore because there's 13 of us this year, but with Zach MIA, it's another split vote. This is going to be really interesting to see the shakeout from all of this. Game number 3. I gotta copy paste the full webcam. There we go. Game number 3, you got the Spurs hosting the Jazz. The Spurs at 7-8 will try and get back to 500. The Spurs are a 3-point home favorite. Unfortunately, in this game, they'll be without Victor Wembanyama, Devin Vassell, and Jeremy Sohan. The Jazz are without Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, and Taylor Hendricks, who is out for the rest of the season. Chat, there is your poll. The picks for this game, we got Steven going Jazz, we got Jackson going Jazz, we got Eric going Jazz, we got Arrow going Spurs, we got Crushables going Spurs, and we got 503 going Spurs. I'm going to need some time to make up my mind because this is a gross game, as Javon says in chat. Absolutely a gross game. We got Spurs for Trevin and Spurs for Connor. Obviously, if the Spurs were healthy, they'd be a much bigger favorite than this. They've been pretty competitive this season. Oh no, Eric didn't go Jazz. Eric went Spurs. Let's see. Arrow went Spurs. Yeah, Jackson. Let me double check these. Jackson went Jazz. Steven went Jazz. Okay. I'm just going to go with the Spurs in this one. It's not a big enough spread for me to shy away from them. Brendan's going Spurs. Javon is going Spurs. So this is going to be a bit more one-sided than last time. Chat is going with the Spurs. 82% of the vote. Chat, since there's only 4 games, you'll be able to vote for your double down. And the 4th and final game of the day. Sorry, let me do this again. I haven't set up a solo camera on picks against the spread scenes yet, but I need to, considering Eric can rarely make these. All right, game number 4, you got the Los Angeles Lakers as 5-point home favorites against the Orlando Magic. The injuries for this game, out for the Magic, is Paolo Banchero and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and then Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable. Out for the Lakers, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jalen Hood-Schifino. Doubtful is Bronny James, and questionable is Rui Hachimura. Chat, there's your poll. We got Javon going with the Lakers. We got 503 going with the Magic. We got Steven going with the Lakers. And we got Crushables going with the Lakers. Jackson, Arrow, and Eric are all Lakers as well. I'm going to go with the Magic. We've got Magic for Brendan and Trevin. The Magic have been playing good basketball without Paolo Banchero. I think they might be statistically the best defense in the league right now. And then we shall wait on Connor. Chat, 56% of the vote for the Magic. So we're bringing the Magic back here. This right now is a 6v5 in favor of the Lakers, and Connor could make it a 6v6, our third 6v6 out of the 4 games today. But unfortunately, Connor is pulling a Connor and taking forever to make his pick, and did not make it a 6v6. He is going with the LA Lakers, a 7v5 right now in favor of the Lakers. You got Connor pulling a Connor, you got Zach pulling a Zach. Time for double downs. One final time, let me copy this this camera here. All right, so as you can see, we already have some double downs plugged in here. We got 3 on the Hornets right now. That's 503 Crushables. Eric, Jackson, and Arrow are on the Pistons. Steven is on the Lakers. I don't really like any of my picks. I'm going to go with the Pistons. So the funny thing is, this first game, you got me, Jackson, and Arrow so far against 503 Eric and Crushables. Chat, let me get your double down chat poll, and then I'll plug in the rest of the picks. Double down chat poll. Let's see. Who'd you guys pick? You guys picked the Pistons -2.5 at Charlotte. You picked Minnesota -7 at Toronto. You picked San Antonio -3 versus Utah. And you picked Orlando +5 at the Lakers. All right, there's your double down chat poll. We got Spurs. Yes, Zach is AWOL, Eric, again. You got Spurs for Connor and Trevin. Let's see, and then you had Javon going Lakers, and you had Brendan going with the Spurs. This first game of the day is a very meaningful game with a 3v3. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And then you got Trevin, Connor, Brendan on the Spurs, Javon, and Steven on the Lakers. So we had a lot of disagreement today, but double downs. We got some groupings here. Chat is also going Spurs. And that concludes picks against the spread. Once again, if you want to get in on the action, check out BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 if you want to get in on any of these spread lines. You'll get 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. And one final look at the standings as we head into today. Hopefully we can gain some ground on Eric because I'm tired of him being in first place. Tired of it. Something has to change there. I'll root for somebody else to be in first place. I would love to see Zach in first place. Although I would also love to see Zach pick. I would love to see Trevin in first place. Those guys are veterans, but they've never won it. So let's see what we can do today. That concludes picks. Thank you for your participation. Alrighty, now it's getting a little dark outside, so time to turn on the lighting. Because I don't stream from a cave anymore. I actually stream in front of a window, so I actually have light. There we go. All right, so the Blazers tomorrow play against the Houston Rockets. I've labeled this as the biggest game in years. You could make the argument that Dame's return game was the biggest game, but the Blazers are technically playing for something. No matter how you feel about the in-season tournament, it's something more than the regular season, and they are technically playing for something. So can the Blazers win this game? It's going to be tough. I don't know what the spread line is going to be on this game. My phone is blowing up right now. I don't know what the spread line is going to be on this game, but expect the Rockets to be favored by, I would say, 7 points. If it's Houston by more, I would take the Blazers on the spread line. If it's Houston by less, then I could definitely see taking the Houston Rockets. But the Blazers have played well the last 4 games, 3-1. The one loss at OKC last night's game, which they were in the game in the fourth quarter. Even though they turned over the ball 24 times, they were very sloppy playing against the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses in the league. And even though OKC's without Chet Holmgren, they got Isaiah Hartenstein back, and he definitely helped them coming off the bench in his Thunder debut. But the Blazers played well. They've strung together 4 straight games where they've played well. If they can play like they've been playing these past 4 games, they have a chance to beat Houston. I don't think Houston is as good as OKC, but their record is pretty dang impressive. They are well coached. Ime Udoka has done a good job there. And there's a reason why they are 11-5 on the season. They've won 8 out of their last 10 games. Jalen Green has been having some impressive performances. He's averaging 19 a game. He's kind of the X factor. Not the most efficient season, but he can get going with the best of them. Of course, you got Alperen Şengün, averaging 18 points, 11 boards, and almost 5 assists. He's kind of the motor of that team. Makes things run there. Very skilled center. I would love to see Klingen matched up some against Şengün. Ayton was doubtful last game. I think Klingen is the better option to start. I think if Ayton plays, it hurts the Blazers' chances to win this game because if Ayton plays, he's going to start. He's going to guard Şengün. He's nowhere near the defender that Klingen is, and I think Klingen can kind of shut down the paint and also shut down Şengün. So I would love to see Klingen start tomorrow. I think that's the best option for this team. And then, of course, you got Robert Williams off the bench can also help defensively in that regard. You got Fred VanVleet, the veteran, 16 points, 6 assists for Houston. And then everything else is kind of committee. You got 12 a game from Jabari Smith, almost 12 a game from Tari Eason. He's playing fantastic defense, averaging over 2 steals a game and over a block. He's been very solid for them. Dylan Brooks gets you almost 12 a game. Amen Thompson gets you 11 a game with 6 boards and a couple of assists. And he's terrific defensively. The Rockets have some really good defensive pieces. And the key to this game for the Blazers is figuring out how to score against them in the half court. Now, they are a younger team, so maybe the Blazers can force some turnovers in this one and get out and run. I think that's going to be a key, given how bad the Blazers' half-court defense is. But it really comes down to, can they score the ball? The Blazers have played good defense. I think they'll be able to defend this team decently. I mean, they defended OKC pretty well last night despite the loss. But what was the problem in that OKC game? The turnovers, the half-court offense looked like it was stuck in mud. The Blazers have the worst half-court offense of the league. It is a reoccurring theme for them. if you want some analytics on Houston, they are the 13th ranked offense in adjusted offensive rating. They are the 3rd ranked defense. So the Blazers go from facing the 1st ranked defense in OKC to Houston, the 3rd ranked defense. Houston and OKC have very similar analytical profiles, being solid offensively and great defensively. By the way, Orlando is the number 2 team. As I said earlier, they've been really good defensively as well. So can the Blazers score? Because I think they'll be able to have some success defensively. I think they'll be able to hold Houston under 112, 113 points. The problem is the Blazers struggle to put that many on the board. Now, Houston sucks from the 3-point line. They're honestly not efficient from any range on the floor. 18th best shooting percentage at the rim. 27th best shooting percentage in the mid-range, and 32% from 3, 32.5% from 3, which is 28th best in the league. The Blazers actually have a better 3-point percentage than the Rockets this year. So if you're starting Donovan Clingan to lock up that paint, and the Rockets continue to struggle from 3, you have a recipe for a good enough defensive game where the Blazers might be able to outscore them by scoring 100 points. I like the way the Blazers match up with this Houston Rockets team. Now, the Rockets are better offensively because they get to the rim at the 8th highest rate. So although they don't shoot the greatest percentage there, 18th best, they do get to the rim a lot. But Clingan is one of the best rim protectors and deterrers in the league. So hopefully Clingan starts and can clean that up. If Ayton starts, I expect the Rockets to be able to get to the rim, and Şengün's going to have a good game. It's kind of sad that the max contract veteran, I have much less faith in him defensively than the rookie big man. But that's why the Blazers drafted Clingan, to have this sort of defensive impact. Now, the reason why Houston's offense is 13th in adjusted offensive rating, they don't turn over the ball and they get a ton of offensive rebounds. 2nd best offensive rebounding team. We saw that last night with the Blazers going against the Thunder, where it was a struggle for the Blazers. So they're going to have to clean that up because the Rockets are an even better offensive rebounding team. And they have the 5th fewest turnovers in the league. 5th lowest turnover percentage. So they take care of the ball. They crash the offensive glass. They don't shoot the best, but they get a lot of shots up off second chance points and by simply taking care of the ball. Of course, the Blazers force a lot of turnovers. So I think that's a key. Can the Blazers force this Houston team that takes care of the ball? Can they actually force them into some mistakes, get out and run, get some buckets, considering how bad the Blazers are in the half court? If the Blazers can do that, they got a good chance to win this game. Now, why is this the biggest game in years? I'll touch upon that after I read Eric's comments, because I just went back to chat. Eric said, Ayton is doubtful again. I think that's good news for the Blazers' chances to win this game. Anthony Simons is now questionable with a hand injury, not an illness. So he might play. I think if Ant can come back and be like last year's Ant, he definitely helps this team in the half court. I don't know how much he helps them defensively, though, you know. He probably doesn't at all, but does he hurt him? That's the question. Scoot is also questionable with the thigh contusion. So with Scoot being questionable, they kind of need Anthony Simons. They kind of need one of those guys to play. Otherwise, I guess you got Delano Banton starting tomorrow, but I would keep Banton off the bench and I would start Avdija and let him play point forward. And just go big with your defensive lineup. I would love to see Avdija, Sharp, Kamara, Grant, Clingan as tomorrow's starting lineup. I think that puts Avdija in the role that worked well for him last year in Washington, a point forward role. See what he can do there. Keep Banton's high-powered scoring off the bench, where it's served this team really, really well, where he's kind of a spark plug if things aren't going offensively with the starting lineup. I trust Avdija initiating a little bit better, a little bit more. And he's better than Banton defensively. Banton's made some plays this year, but Avdija's a little bit more solid and definitely much better at containing dribble penetration. So also he can get out, push the pace. Good defensive rebounder, especially if you're playing him at the point forward position. And the Blazers are going to have to rebound the ball against this good offensive rebounding Houston team. So that's what I would do. But we'll see. Why is this game so important, though? It's very important if you really care about the NBA Cup. If you don't care about the NBA Cup at all, this game means nothing more than a regular season game. But the Blazers are... By the way, the Pistons are getting killed right now. 20-9, Charlotte's up. That's disgusting. Hopefully Detroit can bring that back. But the Blazers are in a 5-team group for the NBA Cup. The winner of each group moves on, and then the best second-place team out of the 3 groups in the conference moves on as well. The Blazers are 1-0. The Rockets are 1-0. The Timberwolves are 1-1. The Kings are 0-1. The Clippers are 0-1. The first tiebreaker is head-to-head. The Blazers have already beat the Timberwolves. If the Blazers can beat the Rockets, they hold a commanding 2-0 lead. The Rockets and Timberwolves would be 1-1. The Blazers would have the tiebreaker against both. Now, sure, maybe the Kings or Clippers could then win out and end up 3-1 and win a tiebreaker if they beat the Blazers on their way. But, assuming that the Kings or Clippers don't win out, if the Blazers beat Houston tomorrow, and neither the Kings or Clippers win out, the Blazers only have to win one of their last 2 games to win the pool. And their last 2 games, of course, are against the Kings and the Clippers. This puts Portland in a really good position if they can win tomorrow to win their pool and make it to the Final 8. If they don't win tomorrow, I think their dreams of making the Final 8 are pretty much over because Houston's going to be 2-0, Blazers would be 1-1, they wouldn't have the tiebreaker, they'd have to win their last 2 games, and Houston would have to lose the last 2 games. So this is the biggest game in pool play, and if the Blazers can win, they will have control of their destiny. They will most likely only need to win one of their last 2 games, and the team they lose to just can't win out. It's that simple. So hopefully the Blazers can win tomorrow, because I'd love to be talking about how they match up with a playoff bracket, you know, or not a playoff bracket, a cup bracket. See, I'm just so desperate for playoffs that I'm treating the NBA Cup like the playoffs. But yeah, I want this team to advance. It'd be fun, man. I mean, we haven't had anything meaningful in quite some time, and we haven't been able to have fun previewing games or anything. It's just like, oh, well, hopefully we don't lose by 50. But some nights I'm like, hopefully we do lose by 50 because it makes for a more fun post-game show than losing by 30. I mean, that's kind of where we've been at. So that's why this game means something. That's why I'm excited for tomorrow, and hopefully this team can get a win. And listen, this type of game is a good thing for a young team that's not going to get playoff experience this year, but can play with something on the line. Kyle Vaughn says, this is why the NBA Cup was a good idea. Haven't been this hyped for a game since we were in the playoffs. Absolutely. I share that same sentiment. And it gives these young teams some high stakes basketball in like a playoff atmosphere that they get to play in, because it means a little bit more. I think that's really good for young teams across the league trying to develop, trying to build towards eventual playoff appearances. And I think it's going to be a good experience for this Blazer team. And if they can win tomorrow, then they have a chance to clinch in their next game, depending on how other NBA Cup games go. Now, their next NBA Cup game is Friday at home against the Kings on November 29th. And there's a chance that could be a clinch game for winning their pool at home. I want that to hopefully be a clinch game. That would be a raucous Moda Center crowd. The Moda Center is back the last 3 games, or the last 3 home games. Apparently, it was super raucous in there when they played the Hawks, and people that went to the game said it was loud in there, and you could tell on the TV there was an atmosphere in Moda Center again. Let's keep it going. So we'll have the postgame tomorrow night. That's not an event night for the postgame show. We're just going to purely break down what happens, win or loss. So hopefully you can join us. And then Saturday we'll have our call-in night where you can call into the show. Hopefully the Blazers can take care of business. JP Savvy says, I wish tomorrow was a big board night. It is It is too early. Too early for big boards. I still need to watch some basketball on Saturday, Sunday. Brandon says thoughts on new All-Star game format. It's interesting. I haven't really looked too much into it. We can talk about it on the post-game show tomorrow after I can look into it a little bit more. Anyway, that's a wrap for this stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this edition of Blazers Uprise Live. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow night after hopefully a Blazers win, because if they win this game, it's going to be a very fun post-game show tomorrow. So take care of business. Shout out to BetUS. Hopefully the Pistons can bring it back. And we're out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night on the post-game show. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.